let's talk about the Chicago Bears quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. Here is a fact. It's true. The Bears have a winning record with Mitchell Trubisky as their starting quarterback in 2020. They're 8-7 right now. They're fighting hard to get into the playoffs. And if Chicago does get into the NFL playoffs, it will be because of their quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. And I have criticized Mitchell Trubisky very heavily in the past, and I stand by everything I've ever said about the guy. But I got to say, I'm very happy to see what he's done in the last couple weeks. I go, wow, that's pretty cool. I think he's fought really hard through a ton of criticism. The world, especially Chicago, his local market, has been very, very hard on him. A lot of people, I think, don't have the resiliency to keep fighting, keep battling, and keep believing in themselves to do what he's done recently. And I as a human being, I applaud Mitchell Trubisky. I just from the ability to keep playing well and to keep fighting through adversity, I think it's pretty cool. I think he's playing very well recently. Kind of a weird situation right now. If you go 9-7 and make the playoffs, can you fire your head coach, Matt Nagy? Can you replace your quarterback if you make the playoffs? I don't know. It's a weird. The Bears are in a very, very weird situation right now. And another fact about the Bears is that when they get good, consistent quarterback play, they are a dangerous team. They can do a lot of damage in the NFL when they get good quarterback play. They've got some good weapons on offense. They've got some, I think, good ideas. People hate on Matt Nagy, and I get it. I understand. I think that Matt Nagy, there have been times in Mitchell Trubisky's career where Trubisky's been handed people wide open and great schemes and great play design and not taken advantage. I'm telling you, people hate on Matt Nagy. He's done some good coaching in his career. In fact, he won Coach of the Year at one point. Like, people forget Matt Nagy can coach. And when the Bears get good quarterback play, they're a good team. Now, in the last 3 games, Mitchell Trubisky has done some good stuff. He's made some good throws. He's been efficient. He's gotten rid of he's been good in quick game. He's made some good throws on third down. There's a throw on 3rd 11. I think it was against the Jaguars. So I went, wow, that's a nice throw. Now, I will say they beat Houston, who's 4-11. They beat Minnesota, who's 6-9. Yeah, I think 6-9 at this point of the year. They beat Jacksonville, who's got 1 win. So while Trubisky's done well in the last 3 games, it's been against bad football teams. So that's like, you can be skeptical if you want, especially given the history of Mitchell Trubisky. And we've also seen some bad stuff. In the Jaguars game, if you watch the game, you would know that the Jaguars dropped multiple interceptions where they should have walked away with 3 interceptions on Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky only threw 1 interception in that game. It was a frustrating bad interception where they had the ball on the 13-yard line in the red zone before halftime. Trubisky's extending the play, rolling right, throws the ball up into traffic, just up for grabs into the end zone, got picked off in the end zone. It's a bad decision. You got to just throw the ball away there. And you're a 4th-year quarterback. That cannot happen. You can't have mistakes like that at this point in your career. Trubisky does stuff occasionally that is very, very frustrating. He's massively overshadowed by Deshaun Watson and by Patrick Mahomes in his own draft class. However, again, he did beat Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback on a horrible team. Trubisky's if you flip the position, if you put Deshaun Watson on the Chicago Bears, oh my Lord, it would be a different story. I mean, the Bears would be 12-3 right now, something like that. They'd be a much better team. So, Trubisky, right? Now, Week 17, you have the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears in Chicago. This is the biggest game of Mitchell Trubisky's career coming up on Sunday. The Packers are 12-3. They're fighting hard to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. If they win and get the number 1 seed, then the Packers would have a bye week in Week 1 of the NFL playoffs during the wild card round. Now, the Bears are 8-9. They're trying to go 9-7. If they go 9-7, they automatically get into the playoffs. Now, they can still get into the playoffs if they lose, because if the Cardinals lose and the Bears lose, then the Chicago Bears still get into the playoffs. So basically, if the Bears win, they're in the playoffs. And if the Bears lose and the Cardinals lose to the Rams, then the Bears would still get into the playoffs. Trubisky's looked good the last 3 weeks. He beat the Houston Texans, who have 4 wins. He beat the Minnesota Vikings, who have 4 wins. And his team beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have 1 win. So he's played very well against poor competition. Now, I have an open mind about Mitchell Trubisky. I'm very skeptical. I have been because of the past and because of the teams he's played. However, this is a huge game. You're playing the Green Bay Packers at home, Week 17. You're fighting to get into the playoffs. Let's see Mitchell Trubisky have a really good game against a really good defense. If he does that, hey, fair enough. People have been pushing back very, very hard on everything I have said about Mitchell Trubisky, and some of the stuff I think is fair. I think there have been moments in my criticism where I've crossed the line a little bit, gotten a little bit too personal. Fair, totally agree. Fair enough. That's a fair criticism of mine and of me. But I think everything I've said about Trubisky, about his play, about his mistakes, he's had some really bad, really ugly mistakes on film that are just inexcusable. So let's give Trubisky an opportunity. I want to see how he does against a really good Green Bay Packers team on Sunday. Does he show up? Does he play very well? Does he lead his team to victory? I don't know. I know he's played well against bad teams. Can he play well against a good team? And then, hey, if the Bears get into the playoffs, can he play well again in a wild card round playoff game? How does Mitchell Trubisky do against good, stiff competition? That's what I want to find out. But again, fact is right now, Trubisky playing well, if the Bears get into the playoffs, that is the reason why they did that. That's the reason why they would get into the playoffs. It's because of their quarterback, Trubisky. It's an undeniable fact. He's been playing some pretty good football recently, and they got a winning record with him as their quarterback, and I have an open mind. Let's see how Trubisky does on Sunday, and I am hoping, and I'm happy to change my mind about the guy, I am hoping he does well against the Green Bay Packers. I'd love to see it. I don't root against anybody, really, and I am very open. My mind is very open to see Trubisky play well and to support the guy as the Bears quarterback moving forward if he can play well against good competition on Sunday and then in the playoffs down the road if they make it in.